What's up, family? This little clip right here, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable for a few people. Sometimes I do videos and they're funny, we laugh, do stuff in the background, make jokes out of real situations. But like I said, my disclaimer, particularly for my YouTube, for this channel, that not everything's gonna be all fun and games. Some things are gonna be, a little uncomfortable, and that's why we have the other stuff going on to help kind of break it up a little bit. But anyway, this little clip right here, first of all, again, I want to thank you in for tuning in to another way to see it, because that's exactly what this is all about. It's just another way to see it. I'm not claiming to be right. I'm not claiming to be wrong. I'm not claiming that it even matters. But what I am claiming is that this is another way to see something that you probably only seen one way thus far. All right. So this is going to be about maturity in the biblical aspect. I'm going to beat up on the Bible a little bit here. Well, not necessarily beat up on the Bible in this particular. I'm just going to ask the a lot of you big Bible believers, or old grandfathered in historical Christians, whatever you want to look at it. Anybody that can answer this question. I'm asking anybody that can leave me a message down below and help me. Talk to me. I'm always willing to listen. I'm always willing to learn. But I do like a good debate, personally. So I'm just prepping you for this, right? So it's about maturity in the scriptures. Okay. Jesus says, when you were a child, you thought like a child, right? But when you grow up, you're supposed to put those childlike behaviors away. Now, I've talked about this a few times, and I've kind of talked a little bit about the belief versus the knowing, kind of how that works a little bit. So this is going to play a little bit of a role. This plays a little bit of a role into that. When we were kids, we were taught that Santa Claus came down the chimney. He brought all the gifts, and we would set cookies out and all kinds of little shit, right? As we got older, we realized, I don't know, for everybody it's a different age when they come into that, when they come into the realization that Santa Claus really wasn't coming down the chimney. But when we were kids, it's okay, to think that, because the idea is for you to get the concept of what it means, and as you grow older, then the idea is for you to grow older and get the concept of what it means, but not particularly for you to continue to think this man is coming down this chimney in the middle of the night and doing whatever and leaving out of it. So that was something that we did. I'll speak for me. That's something that I did kind of figured out on my own. I really didn't. There was no time I can recall in my age exactly. And it's not like I can say, oh man, I was 10 years old when I figured it out. I don't remember when I figured it out, but I knew that I thought that way as a child. And as I got older, I put those childlike thinking things. Well, this is long before I was even a Christian. This, I'll say it this way because my family's come from a Christian background. I'm saying before I even really knew all about that, I was a kid, you know. So I, it wasn't like I was prepared by that scripture to do that act when I got older because I really wasn't aware of it. But as I got older, by default, it just made good sense for me not to believe that a guy bigger than me, I ain't a big man, but I can't even get down the chimney. So it just, I put that away, and so, and then as I started learning to study scriptures and stuff like that, because I know the Bible and I've studied various perspectives of Bibles and different gods and beliefs and religions. I'm, I'm not green in that area. Let's just say that. So anyway, what I'm trying to figure out is where in the Christian's life, you know, again, I'm not, you know, I know a lot of Christians, all right? I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, I'm not picking on the Christians, that's not my thing. But those are the only people that I'm using this reference to because this questions is in reference to their belief. Where did they start putting the childlike thinking away? I like to be in the hot seat. I'm gonna put myself in a situation. When I was young, when I first started learning about the Bible and Christianity and stuff like that, I was a grown person, a grown man, when I started learning about it. Even though I attend various services as a child, when I became aware of what I was doing and I was doing it on purpose, on my own free will, I understood it based on the doctrine, based off of what was exactly how it's written, not off of anything else. It's exactly how it was written. And now I don't. I don't. Probably 20 years knowing the scriptures can say it's been about 20 years, maybe. Wait a minute. No, it's been about 30 years. It's almost 30 years. About 30 years sober. So I think it was the year I got sober, 99. 99, I think. Some shit like that. Well, anyway, it was a long time ago when I first got into this, and here we is 2020, or however long that is. I was, yeah, a little bit longer than that. I think that's about right. 96. I think I quit drinking. Yeah, I quit drinking in 96. And that was the year that I had my godly experience. And so I was very well grown. 96, I was whatever. So, so between that time from 96 to 2020, I've evolved in what I read. I've evolved into what I believe it was telling me, opposed to thinking that it was telling me that it, opposed to me evolving into the same thing that it was telling me from the beginning. There would be no evolution there. No elevation. I would have never ascended from the beginning of the idea of this whole thing. So as I was learning, getting older, I would just learn. I love to learn. It's one of the big things I really like learning. So I just started getting into it, learning, and now I got a whole nother idea. Now it doesn't mean my idea is right. Again, this whole thing is just called another way to see it. but and this brings the question back out to where I'm asking where the Christians come in at. Like they talk about the axe head float and the Jesus walked on water. Now, when you ask about a Christian about these things, they're gonna tell you, man, look, I don't care how crazy this may sound. If it says it happened in that manner, then that's the matter. It talks about a donkey talking. Ain't a donkey a jackass, right? That's something different. But my point is just as bizarre as that may sound. When I was a child, like Santa Claus, I mean, as bizarre as that may have sound to someone older, it's not bizarre to a child. So as a child, I can conceive Jesus walking on water before I can even conceive the concept of Jesus. Just because of my conception, I'm able to be, the doctrine is able to walk me through this experience where you can imagine being in this transition. So this you could imagine these various experiences as you read them in the stories. Just like you can imagine some of the other stuff that you read in other books. You can imagine. So this works the same way. So the more you read and you study, the more your imagination becomes vivid. So this is how I was able to see Jesus, literally walking across the water. This is how I was able to see a 16 ounce. I'm a carpenter. I know what a 16-ounce axe head feel like. But this is how I can perceive it floating. And I mean the donkey talking. I can perceive all these things. I watch donkeys talks all the time on cartoons. I see all kind of shit. Ducks, not the pigs, all kind of shit talk. So as a child and me following this, it lines up with what I'm doing and seeing, so it all makes great sense. As I got older, it wasn't the same. So when I would go and try, as I began to learn, I began to evolve into the concept, at least what I find it meaning. Now other people would say, hey, it says this, it means that. It's 100% God's word. This video clip isn't in contesting of that. That's not what we're doing right now. I'm asking those that do follow it as if it is so, where have they, where have they put their childlike thinking away and begin to think like an adult? Because the exact same stories and the exact same perception and the exact same line of work that was said for me consciously, what we come up with about 28 years ago, 27 years ago, something like that. If I was to be inexact to that same thing, I couldn't say I put that childlike thinking away. Now, what my he says, put your childlike thinking away, start thinking like an adult, right? With playing around. Well, that's what. So how my end result is probably not the most common end result that most people are most comfortable with hearing and stuff like that. And I get it, but I did evolve. I did become greater than I was. I'm not a fool. If I believed I was going the wrong way, I would turn around. But it's because what's happening on my road going that way, and I know a lot of people gonna say, hey man, you gotta watch out, there's all kind of deception and trickery and the devil's gonna get you and all this stuff. I get it. But if my spirit man is not disturbed with my path, why should I change my ways? Why should I change my way? I understand it's disturbing. I can see most people are going that way. I see it. And a lot of people I know are going that way. And I was going that way, but my growing up and putting my childlike thinking away has turned me away from my childlike thinking. Whatever way it turned me to, it turned me from my childlike thinking. So I at least did that. At least did that. So I'm asking most Christians, just give me some examples down there in the comments, and which way that have you taken your belief from a childlike state and grew it into or brought it into a more higher elevated frame of mind. But even I'm talking about the same subject matter. I'm not asking you the basic general concept of being a Christian and growing up. I know all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in what areas have you understood that this scenario that seems just okay. I was trying to get out of here, but I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get out of here. All right, this is what I mean by in which way. I know that Santa and it's in the original story before it was Santa. So I'm not even wrestling with the reality of the man in the chimney. That thing, I'm messing with that no more because it's so clear and vivid. But I've looked at it. I looked it up. I went and I wanted to know. So I wanted to know where did that come. Everything comes from something. So I want to know where did that come from, and it has a logical explanation. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but if you want, hey, it is interesting. But it has nothing to do with me, my reward from thinking as a child about the man coming down the tree, coming down the chimney, to knowing what it's all about now. That's my reward. That's where I grew, where I put my childlike thinking away. So again, the primary question is, I just want some examples of where you guys have seen this same type of I'm trying not to be too brutal. The same type of stories, these same type of things in the Bible that seem to have been pretty hard to believe, and there's all kinds of stuff we can get into. But I'm just keeping this kind of general. You know, what did what mean to you? Like Odin, you can look up Odin. I'll give you that one, Odin. So if you ask me, what does Santa mean to me? Santa means Odin. But then it goes on and on and on. But I'll at least go there. But it doesn't take away from the event. It just gives me understanding about what it's about and how it all plays out. And it's kind of like, see, Christmas at first wasn't for kids. It wasn't for kids, primarily. It was for adults. And it wasn't the jolly man that came. It was the dude before. There was somebody else that used to play that role before this guy came and cleaned it up and made it a little bit more easier of a story to accept, so to speak. So I don't know. I don't want to get off track. I just want to know some ideas what did the floating axe mean to you? How about that? What did the donkey that talked did what did you learn out of the story about the donkey talking? Did you learn just that animals can talk out their ass or whatever they're doing, or however? Or what did you learn about the axe floating? Did you just learn that, hey man, if you freeze ice, you can, put an axe head on top of it, and that. What did you get out of an axe head floating? What did it mean? What did it mean? This is what I'm just trying to find. If we can just kind of give me some examples of some things that you read in it. What, despite what it said, tell me. I want to know, what did it mean? Where did you think it meant this as a child? And when you grew up, you said, you know, when I know what this story is about that. Kind of like I broke down Santa a little bit. I just want to know just different areas in the Bible that you read where you said, okay, when Moses split the Red Sea, that meant really this is what occurred. I mean, or that means, you know, when I was a kid, I thought, you know, it was actually a man that hit the ground and the water went that way, and I thought it was exactly like but when I grew older, I understood that the split in the Red Sea really means this about life or whatever you come up with. This is what I want some ideas about what you guys, share some ideas with me. Again, I thank you guys for listening. I just wanted to come in here and mess with you for a minute. And just kind of pick your brain. I don't know, I didn't mean to be too long with you, but give me some ideas. And I'll come back and I'll turn this up a little bit, and we can take it a step further. But at least what does that mean to you? What did that mean when it says put your childlike thinking? I got a pet peeve with that. Because personally, I don't think a lot of Christians have done that. I don't think they've put their childlike thinking away and matured and grew into what it means. I think they're just still standing on what it said. Now, if that's their right, that's their belief, if that's what they read and it said do that, and that's what they do, and they say that that's following the rules that's in it, that's part of a belief system. I get it. But I want to know. I'm not asking you about belief. I want to know where. Just give me an example. Any one of you. So this is going to get a few videos, a few views. Somebody have heard a story in the Bible somewhere that they thought it meant this, and when they got older, they said, "Oh man, you know what? It really means that." Or at least that's the conclusion that you came to. I just don't want to feel like I'm the only one that is. I know I'm not the only one, but I just want to know what others are thinking, and drop me a message, man. And I wanna learn. We'll come back and talk about it. I'll even tag whoever leaves me a message when I come back off the message and let you know what I think about what you said, and we can just kind of keep this thing going a little bit. All right. Again, thanks for tuning in to Another Way to See It, and that's all this is. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just another way to see it. Peace.